Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see everybody back at Bearbackers. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and is having a Happy New Year so far. We played some basketball over the break. Now we have indoor track starting up this weekend. Softball starts right about a month from now. Baseball is about 5 weeks away. It's about to get really busy around here. This week's schedule: Thursday, Sugar Bears host Lipscomb in ASUN action at the Fair Center at 5 o'clock. Also that night, the Bears follow at approximately 7:30 against Eastern Kentucky, so a doubleheader Thursday. Friday, our men's and women's track teams will open their indoor season up at Arkansas at the Arkansas Invitational. Saturday, another basketball doubleheader on Scottie Pippen Court. Sugar Bears face Austin Peay at 1 o'clock. The Bears host Bellarmine at approximately 3:30, so 2 doubleheaders this week at home. Next Thursday, since we won't be here next Monday because it's MLK Day and we're going every 2 weeks now, I'll go ahead and run through next week's schedule. Next Thursday, Sugar Bears will be on the road at Eastern Kentucky and Richmond, Kentucky. Same night, the Bears will be on the road at Lipscomb. Next Saturday, a week from, the women are at Bellarmine and the men are at Austin Peay. And that weekend track runs at Washburn in Topeka, Kansas. We'll start today with the Sugar Bears. They won 3 straight games over the break, including 2 road games, also including their opener in the ASUN. They beat Northwestern State 75-57 on December 20th at the Fair Center. There were 4 in double figures, led by Leah Mafua with 18 points. We shot 54% from the field, had just 9 turnovers. Those 2 stats will win you a lot of games. After a break for Christmas, we went to Alabama A&M over in Huntsville, Alabama on December 29th, won 65-59 in a tight one. Kinley Fisher had 20 points. We held A&M to just 31% shooting on its home floor. That will also win you a lot of basketball games. If I can move my page here. Saturday in Florence, Alabama, we opened ASUN play, as I said, with a convincing 83-62 win over North Alabama. We pulled away in the fourth quarter, outscored them 20-10 in the fourth period. Kinley Fisher, 24 points. Randria Wright, 16, 3 others in double figures. We shot 50% overall. UNA shot 34% on their home court. We out-rebounded them by 9. Just a real solid victory all the way around. In those 3 consecutive wins I talked about, UCA has had a 15-point average margin of victory, held 3 opponents to an average of 59.3 points per game. Again, that'll win some games. It's a pretty solid defense. We are 9-5 overall. This week, Lipscomb brings a 9-6 overall record and a 2-0 mark into Thursday's game. Austin Peay on Saturday is 9-7, also 2-0 in conference. So 2 big early conference games here at home this week. Now let's hear from head coach Tony Kemper.
Yeah, so it's good to be back. Team's on a little bit of a roll since last time I was up here. I think that was before Northwestern State, and we actually played our tails off against Northwestern State in here, and really I think probably gained some confidence about it all kind of runs together. But I think we were coming off the Kansas game, going into Northwestern State, and so that schedule of that period of our schedule was difficult. We were on the road a lot. We still have been. I mean, we've played 10 on the road and 4 at home. So, I think when you look at the big picture, that's probably the thing about the way we're playing that is generally the most difficult to do is play pretty good basketball without really ever getting to play here. Maybe we have so many new kids, they weren't used to this gym anyway. I don't know. They're just like, it doesn't really matter, Coach. We didn't play here last year anyway. But it's a group that's playing really well. We played very solid overall game against Northwestern State. If you were there, Leah Mafua was great. She had 18 and really controlled the game on both ends of the floor. Their best or second best player, she just completely took out of the game. She has that ability. There's no way, if you didn't know going into it, that I just said who's their good players, you would not have guessed the one. And credit for that goes to Leah. She just played really well. I think the best thing about this group, so Leah played tremendous against Northwestern State. Then we go to Alabama A&M, and for the last 2 games, she hasn't played that well. And we've got enough to just kind of fill in that hole and keep right on going. And Alabama A&M had not lost 13, 15 in a row at home, something like that. 13 in a row at home dating back to last year. So that was a nice win there. I knew it was hard to get. And we started down 0-9, you know, and called a quick timeout, just reminded them that we were playing. And then I think we outscored them 65-50 after that. So, you know, I've often said to them, and I've maybe said it to this group a couple times, it's not often that I ask for something from the group that I have that I don't get it back. So that can be things on the floor, it can be off the floor, whatever it is. They're a group that responds well, and they did that at Alabama A&M. It's kind of similar at North Alabama. Started just kind of okay. And then really, you know, I just wrote up on the board at halftime something along the lines of like, what are you made of, you know? And just erased everything else, left that up there. And I thought that, you know, you really saw that in the second half. You know, we played a pretty good half of basketball. Once again, Destin Duckworth had her best game. Needed her to North Alabama, sorry, getting all the Alabamas messed up. On the same bus route, I mean, we drove the same road to get there. We should have just stayed down there, but they play small, and so we needed to go. It was really hard to play Cheyenne Banks and Liz because they just had to chase on the perimeter. Enter Destin, and she had her best game. She's still real physical and tough, so she can run a little bit on the perimeter. She can be perimeter oriented, and yet, you know, you can still get some rebounds and stuff out of her. She was great. Kiera Prim, Bree Stevens has been a little banged up. KP's been great the last 2 games. There's depth there. We've got some different people that run in and out that can impact, and they're doing that. Kinley Fisher's been really good the last 2 games. She was great down at North Alabama. Player of the week or not? Who else won it? I thought we were going to. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, I thought Kinley, you know, we're playing pretty well in relation to everybody else. I don't think we've had a player of the week yet. I don't know. They need to look at our stuff when we send it in, but it's not a big deal. But they announced Kidley this morning as a nice performance, and I was like, well, that probably means she didn't win it, and I thought she was probably going to win it. So she's coming off back-to-back performances that probably, I mean, back-to-back performances. We went on the road. Eventually, I think you'd start to look around and go, well, Central Arkansas is pretty good. Who off their team's playing well? And I thought that maybe we'd get it, but we didn't. So. That's all right. More stuff to write on the board. This week, and I know just a little bit about, we were in Eastern Kentucky's world the last couple of years, so I know their men's program's really good. Lipscomb, you know, when you're out and about in Conway, bring your friends. I mean, that's 2 great matchups because I know Eastern's very good on the men's side. You know, our next 3 games, and you guys might help that know, it's Lipscomb, Austin Peay, and Eastern Kentucky, and that's all like 2, 3, 4. I don't know who was picked where, but that's the top 4 in our league minus Florida Gulf Coast is the next 3 teams we play. So, you know, Thursday night, I know we'll have our hands full. Eastern Kentucky's great too, so it's a really good day. Both teams are playing well to get people in the Ferris Center. So, proud of them. It's good to see y'all. Questions about what we got going on? Go for it.
What are you teaching Jade to do that causes her to rebound so well at her shot?
Well, she's really athletic. I mean, she just has a lot of pop in her steps. And to be honest, I was really, if anybody watched this practice the other day, I finished the practice late, and I don't do this very often, but I was sitting like this in the stands, and they were just rebounding. You know, because we were pretty frustrated with how we were rebounding. And Jade obviously responded really well. When you have guards that rebound, you can really run in transition better because you don't have to run it through another player, right? If a big gets every rebound, you've got to get an outlet pass. And so I think that's something that they're starting to learn. We bring it with all those little guards. I mean, there's not one out there. Jade can bring it. Kinley can bring it. 3 brings it. And when you do that, it becomes harder to guard you in transition, and we're getting a lot of good baskets there. But Jade's playing awfully well. I mean, she's kind of forgotten she can really shoot from 3, and I don't know what she's shooting on mid-range jumpers, which in basketball, if you listen to everybody talk, they're like, don't shoot them. And a couple games ago, really after Kansas, we really worked to try to get our players playing off of 2 feet. And, we've really been good at playing one-on-one basketball, which the reason why, like if you look at our assist numbers, they're terrible. We're one of the worst assist teams in the country, but they don't help off of anybody. So like there's no pass to be made, like we drive it. They're not going to help off Jade because they're going to give up a 3. They're same way off Kinley. 3 is really special at getting the ball up on the glass and making it. And so this is the best offensive team I've ever coached. We don't get any assists, and it's really they have to pick they're picking how they're going to get beat basically, and we've got the players to beat them in the paint. So that'll probably switch at some point in time. Somebody will choose different, and then maybe our assist numbers will go up. But this group's playing pretty well, fighting hard, represent our university in a really good way. So get out on Thursday and see us. She is. I mean, I don't know. That's a great question. Leah got banged up last week, and I almost did it last week, but or whatever this last game was, North Alabama, and that's hard to. I mean, don't mess with things that are working a little bit. I mean, and I think everybody's kind of comfortable in their role. I don't know who I would take out, to be honest with you. I mean, all those players are playing very well. I think they're used to it a little bit. I talked to Kinley about being you should be the 6th man of the year. That she's playing at a level that is even better than that. I mean, and so maybe, I think about that quite a bit. Are we doing the right thing? That's a conversation. Our timeouts are super long, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. That's something I ask a lot. Like, do we have the right people in the game? Do we have the right people in the game? And those 4 guards that are playing right now, they're all starting guards. I mean, every one of them. And that has been sometimes that's difficult to figure out. We got 3 minutes to go in a game, and it's a tight game. Who should be in and who should be out? And so it's a great problem to have. Right now, I think we're going to leave Kinley coming off the bench and scoring 24 and keep it like that. But good question. Anything else? Awesome.
And just so you know, there might be a men's and women's newcomer of the week coming out about 1 o'clock. So just a little hint there. You're welcome, E. Just for you, mate, basically. Sound like Natalie's career assist record's safe for a while then? So, good.
Our assist record's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yes, it is.
I look at those numbers every day.
Pretty silly is what it is. Now, the Bears played 5 times over the Christmas break, just 2 of those at home. Had a tough shooting day and lost a tough one to Western Illinois on December 20th. Went on the road to face back-to-back Power 5 schools in Oklahoma and Missouri. Lost both of those, a very respectable score at top 25 Oklahoma, actually top 12 Oklahoma. Ended up 88-72 despite playing without Elias Cato and Daniel Sofield. A little more on that shortly. Went on to Missouri on a short 1-day turnaround. We had a 7-hour bus ride in between, which there's not a good way to get from Norman, Oklahoma to Columbia, Missouri, as we found out. Lost that one 92-59. Carl Dartery Jr. had 23 points, 4 of 10 from 3-point range. He's filled in really nicely for those guys that have been injured and sick. Then we hosted Champion Baptist on January 3rd, put up 120 points. set career highs for nearly everyone. Coach Boone, I'm still a little disappointed I didn't get any minutes that day because I think I could have done a little something in there maybe. We broke a 50-year-old school record with 73 rebounds. And we shot well, so that means Champion Baptist did not, if there were that many rebounds to be had. We made a season-high 15 three-pointers, 7 in double figures, led by Carl Dartery again with 29 points. I might have made it 8, Coach Boone, if I'd have been in there, but that's okay. Then we carried that momentum to Florence, Alabama on Saturday, opened conference play with an 84-81 win that turned into a nail-biter at the end after we led by 23 points. But the guys figured out how to win it, and a pair of free throws by freshman Tucker Anderson with 4.4 seconds left that sealed it for us, 3-point win. Anderson had a career-high 24 points in that game. This week, EKU, as we said, comes in on Thursday. They're 2-0 in the ASUN. They had 2 home wins over Lipscomb and Austin Peay, the 2 teams we play next week. We just swap opponents. They are 6-9 overall, however. Bellarmine on Saturday is 4-13 overall. They're 0-2 in the ASUN. They had home losses to Austin Peay and Lipscomb. So pretty good comparison these first 2 weeks of the conference season. Now let's hear from Coach.
When we're at home, I always look at Daryl and say, Daryl, can you make a free throw? Can you make a jump shot? And he says yes, and then I turn around looking for him, and he's disappeared. It's been an adventurous few weeks here. We played at home against Western Illinois, and that was rough. Seemed like we couldn't buy a basket that game, and they are really good also. Western Illinois is really good OVC team, and I expect them to do well there. And we knew going into that game, they were one of the best. Statistically, they were one of the best defensive teams in the country, actually. So they really pride themselves on that with how they can guard one-on-one, where they don't look to help also, and we're not necessarily great one-on-one players. And they had a big guy in the middle that's one of the best shot blockers in the country. But then when we did get open looks, we just didn't make very many of them. So it was a low-scoring affair. We gave ourselves a little bit of a chance to try to come back, but we just couldn't make any shots. I had Christmas break. Hopefully Christmas was great for all of you guys. Came back and played at Oklahoma, and guys had renewed spirits and gave them a pretty good run for a good stretch of that game. I think we played extremely well. Our defense was pretty good, and they had trouble guarding us. And it was a pretty long bus ride going from there to Columbia, and with a short bench and that bus ride and playing 30-something hours after the other game, it didn't fare well against Missouri. We played well for about 10, 12 minutes, and then Missouri kind of took off. But they, both those teams, Oklahoma and Missouri, are pretty good, and Oklahoma's going to be really good in their conference, and Missouri, I think, is going to be competitive in the SEC, I believe. We came home, played Champion Christian, and the guys were able to let off some steam, and I was very pleased with that game because it's easy in a game like that for the guys not to give great effort. We did all we could to kind of set that up as if we were playing the first of our conference games. That was our goal. We said this is our first step in playing. We have 2 opportunities to try to win championships, the regular season and the conference tournament. And we said this is the first step, and we want to treat this just like we're playing one of our conference opponents. And the guys came out pretty focused and started off with a huge run in that game and got a really big lead against Champion Christian. And they are, I hate to call them an inferior opponent, but they were. But our guys played with a great deal of focus and did exactly what they needed to do in that game. I was really, really pleased with that. Gained a lot of confidence and went on the road to North Alabama. And I feel North Alabama is a really good team. I looked at them. They have a couple of guards that can really penetrate, get into the paint. They have a couple of shooters that shoot really, really well. and they have a post guy that does a really good job inside. I feel that North Alabama is a team that could challenge in the A-Sun. They weren't picked necessarily, top 2 or top 3. I have no idea. I don't know how they did the picks for our conference, because there's so much turnover in rosters with how the portal is now. There's so much turnover. I don't know how you do that. You really can just draw names out of a hat. But I think with their roster, they have a chance to compete for the A-Sun. But our guys came out really, really focused. Our goal was to make sure that those 2 guards that really get into the paint don't do that as much as they like to. And for the most part, our half-court defense was really, really solid. We were shrinking the floor on those guys. We were playing in the gaps, not letting them to do that as much as they want to, using our length to block a number of shots. We got a lot of block shots in the first half, and we turned them into that kind of team to shooting a bunch of threes. They took so many more threes than they're accustomed to in the second half. And now they hit a lot of threes also, but they didn't hit enough, thankfully. They didn't hit enough to be able to withstand the lead that we built when they were doing what they normally do. We got a little conservative in the second half, which we needed to do, except we should have run a few more sets that we run, but for the most part, we did what we were supposed to do in not giving them more possessions in the game. And we had a number of scenarios that we have worked on in practice. We worked on so many scenarios in practice. Just about every day we work on scenarios. And there's something different, though, when the lights are on. You can smell the popcorn in the air, and you got real officials out there, and someone that's not your teammate in another jersey you're going against. It's just a little bit different when it's game action. So it was really good experience for our guys. And it's always great to be able to experience something, draw a lesson from it, but still be able to claim the victory. And that was one message we wanted to make sure that the guys understood when we finished the game, that there were things we need to learn from it, things that we worked on today in practice, this morning in practice, and we're going to continue to work on in practice as we prepare for the upcoming games, but to let them know, hey, you guys still found a way to finish it off, stepped up and made free throws when we needed to. That was very valuable. We have a couple of tough opponents. Eastern Kentucky is very good. They were picked near the top of the league, and they like to press a lot and shoot a lot of threes. So it's going to be a very fast-paced game, and hopefully we'll shoot the ball well. So it's liable to be a very high-scoring game, very exciting game. So we'll have a pair of really good games Thursday. So I will encourage you all to come out. The Sugar Bears are playing extremely well. They are a lot of fun to watch. Very fun to watch. So tell all your family and friends to come out, watch them, and if you would, hang around and watch us too. My guys are kind of fun to watch too. I got a text from somebody after our game Saturday night saying that I get a few like this. And they said, oh man, and we've gotten this nickname, the Cardiac Bears. And somebody I know said, I don't know if my heart can take that. And I said, well, fortunately, I got mine fixed last year. So otherwise, that game probably would have done me in. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. The guys are very exciting, and I enjoy watching them. And it would be a lot of fun watching them as a fan, I would imagine, because they are very exciting. But I can't overstate this. Beyond that, they are an incredible group of young men. Everywhere we go, someone goes out of their way to explain to one of us on the staff how respectable they are as young men. We go and we stop at a restaurant or we stop at a gas station, a convenience store, they are incredible ambassadors and representatives of our university, of this community. And people take note of that, and they will, every trip we're on, people come up and explain that to us, how thankful they are for how nice these young men are. So, yes, yes. So as much as I enjoy being around them and watching them play and watching them practice and being a part of what we do on the floor, and when we do win, and as much as I enjoy that, just as much I enjoy being around them, just as people, as growing young men, as seeing how they carry themselves. They are. I try to be the best I can for them. I do, and thank you for saying that. Thank you. But I also draw inspiration from them. I do, because they are incredible young men. They are, and some of that is what we research in recruiting. We don't want to bring in more than what we can handle, but you never know, especially nowadays. Again, with how the portal is, some of the recruiting we do is short term because we have to find people late and we don't get to research and follow up as much. For example, a few years ago, Masai Olowokere, recruiting him, and his was more short term because he was a late signee, but still, I remember going to visit him at his school, and I got to talk to 25, 30 people about him. I got 25, 30 people's opinion about him. They were all positive. And nowadays, we go to talk to people about people in the portal. We recruit them for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we talk to their parents. We can talk to their coach. There aren't very many people we can talk to on a college campus about a college student that's transferring. So these young men are remarkable, and if you ever get the chance to be around them, come to practice and see how they are, interact with them after practice, I would encourage you to do that, because they are outstanding. They are outstanding, and I don't think we may have shown this on social media. I don't know how big you are on social media, but they're great as student athletes too. We had our highest GPA we've had in a while. We had over a 3-point cumulative for the team, which was really good. We had some guys that not that I didn't think would, maybe I didn't think would, but had some very extremely high GPAs. So they are dedicated to be as well-rounded as possible. So I've rambled on enough. Do you all have any questions of me?
I was going to ask you, how frustrating was that last minute when it takes about 20 with all the reviews and the close game, and how do you deal with that as a coach?
It was frustrating. I wanted to make sure, one, that I didn't react in a way that would harm our chances to win. And I just got it in my mind that, if when the ball was on the other end, and if it ever went out of bounds, that I just made up in my mind that the referees are going to point their way. That was going to happen if they drove, and if our guys came close to them, the whistle was going to blow. That's just what was going to happen. So I had enough confidence in our guys that we were going to make the right plays, that we were going to play good enough defense to hold off what they were doing, that we were going to take care of the ball enough to handle and withstand the run that they were making. And our guys did. And if I show panic, if I show that I'm just totally frustrated, then I can't I can't expect the guys to not be the same way. So I have to make sure I keep myself in check so that they can remain calm and stay on point, stay on task. So they did. The guys did a great job with that. They did a great job with that. And again, it was lots of lessons to be learned from that. Lots of things that we were pointing out to the guys. And then again, always great to be able to learn lessons and still come out with the win. And good to know that we might have a newcomer of the week. I think I have an idea who that might be.
Not me.
It's not you. It's not you. It could be Daryl, but Daryl always he always disappears on me. So. Yeah, well, next time Javion gets hurt, I'm gonna call on Steve. Call on Steve. Yeah. Any other questions?
After Saturday, everybody's still pretty healthy?
Everybody that is playing now is pretty healthy for the most part. Yeah, I was glad to get Elias back. He had missed a few games, and Daniel's played a couple games in a row. Now Daniel Sofield, it was good to get him back. Both those guys missed the trip out to Oklahoma, and they missed those games. Daniel got to play in the Champion Christian game, and then Elias got back, and I was glad to see how well Elias played after missing those 3 games, because before missing those 3 games, Elias was in a little bit of a slump. Wasn't playing all that great, but came out and played really well for us, and was a big key for what we were doing, especially defensively. As I said, our goal was to stop those couple of guards from driving in as much and creating a lot of havoc. And Glory Eatum has done a great job for us and does a great job on the defensive end. But when we put Elias in for him and play a little bit, they're about the same height, but Elias is not as bulky as Glory. We can do something slightly different defensively, and that changed our scheme. And we were doing well starting off, but when we put Elias in for Glory and changed up what we were doing, we really took off, and that was because of what we were doing defensively. So. And Elias played really, really well, especially considering he had been hurt and missed several games. So, yes, ma'am.
Can you see the confidence that they have built in each other as a result of some of these challenges they've had to go through? First of all, Cam, I feel like we were all thrilled to get him back to the injury, and so that I think he might have taken some wind out of the sails. But they realize they don't have to have him to win, although it would be like amazing if you could, but also that everybody gets injured, and you know what, we can still do this with the people we got. Are they building confidence in each other?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. And it was when we lost Cam, it was it's like the air was let out of us, and we lost a little bit then, but. It has slowly built, but the guys have built up quite a bit of confidence in each other, and they are all, we're all pulling the same way, and they have a lot of confidence. And it's, when you get the chance, watch how our bench is, because they all are pulling for each other so much, and they have a lot of confidence in each other, and it's, at times, I wish I could stop what I'm doing and watch them too, but I can see it on film, and I can hear it oftentimes. And as I pace up and down, I kind of bump into those guys as they're doing all that. The guys have built quite a bit of camaraderie in that sense as well, and realizing, hey, we can do this with what we have, and continuing to march that way.
And whoever that is at the moment, that's
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Certainly. Certainly. And it's been great to witness that.
Do you ever worry about yo-yo getting too much involved on the sideline?
Well, as soon as you said, "Do you ever worry about yo-yo?" I was thinking yes. Yes, no, yes, no, no. I don't worry about him getting too involved on the side. You mean like?
When he's on the sideline and he's out of the game, I've seen him get right on out there on the floor and hollering at people, or talking to his teammates and whatnot. It's just, you know.
Oh, I don't worry about that. And that really.
You can walk out and talk to the official during timeout. That conversation.
Well, before the game, I believe he's one of the ones that they look to anyway, and they usually have a couple that they are okay with speaking to them, and he is one of them until they get tired of hearing from him. But as one of the leaders on the team, and it's usually good that a point guard is. It's great for him to be that guy. Point guards usually are an extension of our staff on the floor, and his job doesn't end just because he's not in the game. So he continues to do that, continues to help his teammates, even when he's not on the floor. So I don't worry about that so much. And in fact, we encourage all of our guys to continue to communicate, whether they're on the floor or off. So if it ever gets to be an issue, a problem, it's a good problem for us to have if we're over communicating in that way. So
Well, I do believe that there is a lot of support for everybody on the bench for those that are on the floor. It can be seen, or it should be able to be seen. So,
Yes.
I mean, and I think that's important. You even talked about the point guard with Cam. When, at least at home, he's very involved in what's going on.
Certainly.
He's very aware.
certainly.
I like that because, you know, he's not just sitting over there. He's still a part. You know,
Right.
I think that's good.
Right, it is. He can't physically help us, but he still can be a part of what we're doing and still contribute to what we're doing. So yes, you're right. And it's been great. It's been great. And it's spreading to all of our guys, the ones that are playing most of the time, the ones that don't play as much, and even the guys that don't really get into the game. They're all getting into that and all participating in that way. Which brings me to another point, and forgive me for continuing to ramble here. I spoke to one of our guys that's redshirting this year, and we have a couple of guys that are redshirting and some of our walk-ons that help us a great deal by being a part of our scout team. And after our game at North Alabama, I was walking by after doing the radio deal. I walked by Ben Fox, and I told him, "Hey, good job, Ben." And he said, "Coach, I didn't do anything." I said, "Well, you got to understand, you do a lot to help us prepare. And if we don't have you, we don't win this game." And he looked at me. I said, I'm being serious. We don't win this game if you're not here. You need to understand that. I want you guys to understand there are guys that aren't in the game that contribute a great deal to what we do. They work extremely hard. Some of them are on scholarship, some of them are not. But they are just as dedicated and work just as hard as Yo-Yo and Tucker and Masai and CJ. They work just as hard as all those guys. And they are just as much a part of what we're doing as anyone on the team, and just as important as everyone. So whenever we do anything that's good, those guys are just as much a part of it, and they understand that, and I want you guys to understand that too. Are there any more questions? All right, well, come out Thursday and then Saturday, and hope to see you. Go Bears, go Sugar Bears.
Couple of real quick things. Our annual SAC Pancake Breakfast, Sunday, February 4th at Stobie's. Mark that on your calendar. Sunday, February 4th at Stobie's. Also, now that ASUN play has started, we will have Purple Circle receptions at all home basketball games. For single games, it will be held at halftime. For doubleheaders, it will be held between the two games. So mark all those down on your schedule. The rest of the games will have Purple Circle receptions. And also, I said earlier, next week's MLK Day, so we won't be meeting here, but we're meeting every 2 weeks anyway. So our next meeting will be January 22nd. So mark your calendars for that. Anything else? Matt? Anybody? Nat? All righty. Good to see y'all. Let's see y'all in 2 weeks. Actually, see you Thursday night.